Hello and welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at charts and graphs. Now, chart questions usually do not involve much computation, but we'll need to be careful. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few steps here that will help us to answer chart questions correctly. Number one, we want to make sure to read any text that accompanies the chart. It's important to know what the chart is showing and what scale the numbers are on. There's a big difference between counting by tens and counting by millions, for example. Number two, we'll read the question carefully. And number three, we'll refer to the chart to find the specific information needed to answer the question. If there's more than one question about a single chart, then the later questions will tend to be a bit more difficult than the earlier ones on our exams. Now, the key here is not to get into a rush. We want to make sure that we take a moment to look at the chart or graph to find out what it's telling us, what information it's sharing, what story it's telling. Then we can go to the questions once we realize what the data is showing. So let's take a look at an example chart. Here we have club membership by state in 2012 and 2013, with California, Florida, on down to Texas. And here is our club membership value. For 2012, we have an entire column. In 2013, we have an entire column. Now let's take a look at the questions. What is the difference between the number of members who came from New York in 2012 and the number of members who came from Illinois in 2013? So we just need to look up two simple pieces of information here, then we can do a little bit of math, not much computation. So first, the number of members who came from New York in 2012 was 400. Second, the number of members who came from Illinois in 2013 was 180. Now we can subtract. 400 minus 180 will give us 220. The difference is 220. Now let's take a look at a second graph. The graph will follow the same rule. We'll read any text that accompanies the graph. It's important to know what the graph is showing. We'll read the question and we'll refer to the graph to find the specific information that we need. Here we have a pie graph. This is Emily's clothing expenditures for the month of October. Let's take a look. We have $90 on shoes, $60 on pants, $30 on hats, $30 on socks, as well as $30 on shirts. Let's take a look at our question. The graph in figure 1 shows Emily's clothing expenditures for the month of October. On which type of clothing did she spend the most money? Now this one is easy. We can take a look at the pieces of the pie and we'll just identify the largest. Or we can look at the amount shown in the graph and choose the largest one. Either way, the answer is going to be A, shoes. Let's take a look at number 2. Emily spent half of her clothing money on which two items? Here we can find the answer in two different ways as well. We can look for which two items together make up half the chart. Or we can add up the total number of money that Emily spent. 30, 60, 90, 180, 240. And then figure out which two items make up half of 240, or will be 120. Either way will work. And either way will arrive us at B. Shoes and shirts account for half of Emily's spending budget. The answer is B.